Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 992. Tonight, going to talk about the day after Memorial Day in the trenches for me. There's enough material there for a couple shows, so we're just going to summarize. Some more on scams, and we're going to talk about domain renewals. So before we get started, I want a couple personal things and what's happening. So anybody who knows me that we've at the conventions, especially the Canada convention in Toronto, I need the temperature. I mean, it's perfect is 68. We don't want it to get too much above that. So when my central air conditioning system goes, that's a problem for here. And I'll real quick, I was very, very lucky that I was able to get the technician from the company that maintains it, came out and opened up the panel here, and it's all frozen. I'm like, oh, he can't check for leaks until it's melted. So turned everything off. Now it's got to melt all night, and then he came back today. So in the meantime, luckily I spend a lot of time in my office here, and I got a split mini air conditioner in this room, and that's great. Now for sleeping, the guest bedroom has a stand-up portable air conditioner because visitors, when they come in, that's at the front of the house, and the sun comes down and beats on the windows there, and it makes that room extremely hot. Even though it's part of the central air system, it just doesn't do it. So luckily, there is a nice air conditioner that's vented to the window. So I was able to sleep. So when I got up and had to, go to the bathroom or do something, I'm going from 68 to 83 and then back. So he came out this afternoon, determined there's no leak here at the main, trying to think of the main closet that holds the coils and things for in here. No leak there. He goes to go outside, and the heavens opened up with rain like it's never rained before. And he comes back and he says, I just can't check on that. But he says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill it up with Freon all the way. And then I'll be back tomorrow. And we had to look at the count. We had to look at the weather and see, okay, when's it supposed to rain? When should it be dry by? And so we're hoping like 10 a.m. he's going to stop by, find out where the leak is and fix it. Hopefully it's a small part. But right now I have error. So, which is, knock wood. Hopefully that'll keep going. And the tech gave me his cell phone number, which is so rare these days. So I have that. And the reason it's important is my son Tyler is coming down Saturday from Philadelphia. And we got lots of things planned. But I have a ton of work still to do. I got bed linens to wash. I got towels to wash. I got things that have been piling up that I want to get done before Saturday. And then I got 3 Zoom calls tomorrow. Anyway, I got things I got to do tonight. So that's why tonight is I'm starting, an hour early, just to get a jump on everything. And I just wanted to do a quick update. And then today, I almost canceled today because I haven't been feeling good and I haven't been able to keep anything down. So that's been an issue. I'm feeling good right now to do the show. And next week, that's another reason I'm bringing this up. Next week, because my son's here, I don't know if I'm going to do the show. If I do, I'm thinking about something. My son Tyler and I are going to be working on installing Kali Linux on a system that when I drive back with my wife in June, I will bring back for him. And he wants to learn that, and we're going to go through the install process and everything. And if we can do that before Thursday, I might have Tyler on again. And remember the last time he was down here, we did a gaming show. We might do a Linux show next Thursday. So I'm thinking about that. Let's see how Tyler wants to do that. So we got lots of things. Sunday, we're going to go see Mandalorian and Grogu. I have not been in a theater since prior to 2020. So it's been over 6 years since I went to a theater. And then I'm thinking of getting tickets for a concert for Saturday night, Shinedown's down here in Tampa. So anyway, busy. 2 email migrations I'm going through. That's not even show material yet. So let's get at it. The day after Memorial Day in the trenches, I wake up to a text from a client who system is not on, and he's hit the button and it's not coming up. But this is also a client that has a lot of difficulty in finding what cord to even though we have it labeled, which cord to pull. When I say computer, he'll reboot the router. If I say the router, he'll reboot the computer. So I walked him through rebooting the system and pulling the plug. And that is because of a couple updates. It is amazing, especially on Dells. And does anybody else have this happen where an update just hangs the system? And that the only way to fix it, where it corrects the update and everything, is you got to pull the power plug, plug it back in. So I'm doing that. So there's a lot of this going on Tuesday. By the way, I was so crushed with calls that when it did come up, he couldn't get in with his password. And I couldn't, I said, look, I will get to you in a little bit. And figured I would remote in the back door and because of my Synchro RMM and open up a command prompt to reset the password. He finally figured out his password and was able to get in because he texted me, hey, no problem. So that was great. Now we have a client with no internet. So this is, I said, just let's reboot the router. Walked them through rebooting the router. Couple minutes, everything's working. So far, we're batting 1,000 and everything's going good. Now, this is a weird one. So and this is from my bookkeeper. He tells me that, and sends me an example, his email. And now he gets this on Outlook Web Access, and he's a SureWeb hosted exchange. But a client of his, another client, sent him a picture of a check, and he can't read it. But if he forwards it to his Hotmail account, he can read it. When he forwarded it to me in Outlook, I was able to see it. So what's going on here? And I'm trying to figure this out, and I discover the following. That's why I'm bringing this up. It is likely that Microsoft Outlook embedded image bug that was confirmed in May this month, 2026. Microsoft acknowledged the embedded image in emails, newsletters, and signatures are not displaying in both Classic Outlook and OWA, starting with version 2604 build 19929.20164 and above. So the workaround options, it's really on the sender. And he's going to reach out to the client and say, stop using wrap text with top and bottom for formatting when embedding an image. And he's doing this on his phone. So this is a known trigger for the bug. Instead, he needs to attach it, embedding them in line, and then you can see the attachment. So you have to go inline, not wrap text with top and bottom. So we don't know if that's a fixed, and that we just don't know if that's going to happen or not. I haven't heard back from my client. Now, in infections, that it's, we're going to call a term. I was looking for a term for this, and I think you're going to like it. It's called scareware. That's when the person goes to the website and it comes up and it scares them. I like that. That's a good term to use. So we're talking an innocent church, and the two admins in the front office both hit a site that is now talking to them, telling them to call Microsoft right now. You're infected. Here's the 800 number, blah, blah, blah. And it takes over the screen. So what I was able to do was remote in to both systems. I remoted into the one first, and I'm able to run Control-Alt-Delete and go Task Manager. And I can do that by sending that command through my RMM, and then killed all the browsers it's running. Then went on to the next system and remoted in, did the same thing. Now, both computers, guess what? Malwarebytes expired. So I made sure, and the one system had 7 infections, the other one had 5. So all kinds of pups and different things. So I renewed their Malwarebytes on the 2 systems and then did a cleaning. But I also installed Malwarebytes Browser Guard just as another layer to help them. So anyway, that was all in the morning, and we're going to keep going. Just a client received a new multifunction device printer and never notified us. And it was delivered and just dropped off and plugged in on Tuesday. So they called because they can't scan. So now I was very lucky. By now, my son got to the office, and I gave him that one, which was to call the client and try to get that. And he got that set up for scanning, and he was able to do that remotely. And it's funny because that client's in South Florida, which is another story for the next show from today, which it didn't make it, and where I had to get Uncle Marv to go over to the client because they're not far away. And that's a very good story that we'll tuck that away and save that for the next show. Now, my son was on site in the morning for a client that he's there every Tuesday morning, and they decided, and I'll be talking about this, the client agreed to now purchase Proofpoint to be implemented. So I'm starting on that and getting that arranged because it looks like there's going to be 49 email accounts. Now, they're Microsoft 365 purchased direct from Microsoft 365. So we're going to put Proofpoint protection in front of the Microsoft. So as another layer of adding for security and help with their email. So have that. Working on two email migrations. One, going from, and this is a first for me, and it should have no problem except for the volume. It's over 100 users. Moving from Amazon Workmail to Microsoft 365. Okay. Amazon Workmail is a Frankenstein exchange. It is not Microsoft Exchange. It's Amazon's version of Exchange. That adds a layer of complexity to this. Or it would have been a lot easier. The next one is going from SureWeb hosted Exchange to Microsoft Exchange. And I'm kicking that off with SureWeb to help at the back end. So I'm going to be going through those 2 mail migrations. Okay, so a lot of work, and I've been very busy, and like I said, 3 Zoom calls tomorrow with all sorts of work. Let's get to the one email on continuing just a little bit more on scams. So this is from Brian. Mike, thanks for your show, and I'm looking forward to your 1000th episode too. Something occurred to me while you were discussing scams on your last show, particularly concerning the pop-ups that my customers always seem to get. In most cases, the cause was rogue notification from bad websites. As part of my cleaning browsers, I always check the list of sites that allow notifications and delete and turn them off. I set up their browser to either always ask or never accept notifications. I do that. Never accept. And try to educate users that websites will sometimes ask, do you want notifications? Do you want to block notifications? And make sure they always are yes or no correctly. As for show 1000, I think that stories from the trenches are always fun, particularly the biggest mistake I ever made. Boy, I've done that once. And by that, I don't mean the customer. We've all screwed up big time on occasion and had to either dig ourselves out of a hole or repair something we did by mistake. You know the sort of thing when we delete the wrong drive or folder, etc. After all, we're only human, and it's all a learning process, even if we've been doing it since 1982 like I have. Oh yeah, I understand. Thanks again for my weekly fix, and I look forward to the next 1000 episodes. All the best, Brian. Brian, thank you so much for that, and I like the feedback. We still got a few shows. Email me, miketechshow@gmail.com. Let me know what you would like to hear on the 1000th episode, and I will, put it together. So let's keep talking about scams, because I have a couple more that, at least this one big one, that this is, without giving the names, someone I know who's a friend and a listener, and he got hit with something, and this is a man in the middle, where somebody, and this was a client of his, a customer, buying some pretty expensive things, and sent the money, and the problem is the bank received the money. The credit card actually received the money, but you can't trust this. And it was not a known customer. It was someone that, he did some research on, but that seemed legit, but it was not. And we're talking a lot of money. And this was for a project, and this was a third day. Oh yeah, there was actually 2 stories. There was one on equipment, but this was for a big project, and it was like a third down, and this huge project. The problem is it was the customer's email that was infected, and there was a man in the middle waiting for a payment to happen. And so the bad actor inserted an email and sent it to him, pretending to be my friend. And it was a different email in the sense that there was a letter off in the name. And I've warned about this, and this is something you got to be careful with. And I'm going to talk about what we got to do with our clients for this. And it gave instructions to send the money, and sent the money and to the wrong place. Why? Why do people send large amounts of money, wire transfers, and without calling to verify? For out of band, you must call and verify before. I know a client that would call for confirmation on a $50 item, but a $200,000 item, they had no problem just sending the wire transfer to the wrong place. I don't understand this. Everybody must be taught the following things for scams. You must look at the email addresses, everybody that's there, and you gotta really look hard because it might be .org or .something else and not .com. Maybe it's .net and not .com because the bad guys buy domains that are the same name. They're just waiting, scanning the emails going, once they get in, they're just waiting for that dollar transfer or something happening. And we're going to pause a second. Taz, can you take care of this? All right. And one of the things that they do is they wait till somebody's going to be sending money, and then they quickly, okay, let's buy that domain. Let's pretend we're this person, and then give fake notifications. So you give a fake, maybe an ACH info, but normally it's going to be like a credit card, or it's going to be to take the credit card info, or it's going to be a bad wire transfer. So it's going to be bad info for the wire transfer. So that's one. But call before. We have to teach everybody. Don't ever make a big payment or do something without calling. You have to. You got to call and make sure you're confirmed with the person you're talking to that is the person and that they want this. Anyway, that's important. Second, you must, no matter what email system you have, you must turn on multi-factor authentication. And you must get that through to everybody. So that's how we can stop this man-in-the-middle email where they steal the money. And this is happening. I'm hearing more stories. This is happening way, way too often right now. So that's big, and be on the alert for that. And anybody that deals with money or wire transfers, you got to train them up. You really do. Okay. Last week during the show, I had to pause and I had to call my client because he was texting me all day. He was not receiving any emails, and he has a business, not receiving any emails, but he's a sole proprietor, one guy, and I said, I can't help you during the show. I'm going to call you after the show. I said, are you going to be up, around 9:30? So, yep. So finished the show, and 9:30, I call him, and I noticed that the MX records, when I went to MX Toolbox, were gone. There was no MX records. So what happened? So my first thing was, did you have someone work on your website? Because that's what normally, they took control of the name servers, and that's what, messed everything up. No. Did we give permission to anybody to your GoDaddy account? No. Okay. So I log into GoDaddy, and we do have two-factor turned on because he has to give me the number for the two-factor. And I log in, and what am I notified? The domain expired. He is so lucky that the domain expired only a few days ago. And of course, that's what happened when he noticed that there was no email coming in. But why didn't he get his notifications? Well, we find out that he had bought a couple years ago the domain and bought it for a couple years, and the email is an old AOL email for the domain. So, which he's not checking. So he wasn't notified. So we didn't get a chance this week yet because I've been so busy. But we're going to change the email, obviously, to something that he's checking. And then we're going to re-up that for a few more years so he doesn't have to worry about this. So there are 2 things on my list that I got to do probably tomorrow. But I wanted to let you know, hey, for domain registrations, and I know this is a lot of work, if you're working with your clients, you need to put an alert when that domain's going to expire. I have another one. I have a client that they're SSL, and now it was only 6 months. I don't understand. I tried to get it for a year through GoDaddy, but it only registered for 6 months. So I have a reminder in my calendar, and it's before September because this is critical. It's a CPA firm that they use a website through the organization that does the back end of their accounting software. They provide a website, and you got to have the SSL. This is how they securely transfer files back and forth to that portal that the customer logs into to transfer a file. And that goes down when the SSL expires. So, and then I have to work with them. I got to get a file and everything. It's not easy. So it takes a couple emails back and forth. It takes GoDaddy a day to process it. So to get the files that then I need to send to that third party company. So just make sure you know when things are expiring for renewals. And one of the things that you want to take a look at and know is that TLD, when you see that, that's a top level domain. That's .com, .net, .org. And a lot of companies give a 30 to 40 day grace period, and where the original registrant can renew at standard cost. Oh, by the way, when I renewed, in just a matter of two minutes after I renewed the domain, all of the DNS was there. So I noticed it was the MX records, the Auto Discover. It was very select records that were missing for the domain renewal. Some of the other, I guess, texts for like his SPF record and everything were still there. Anyway, you want to make sure that you want to be able to get and go in front before it's the last minute and it costs a lot of money. You want to set it for, a few weeks in advance to renew. So this way, you checked on the billing email, and you just want to make sure that you're going to get notified and you're not going to have to pay top dollar to renew. So that's so here's the thing. What are best practices for businesses? Use a dedicated shared email, not a single employee's mailbox. Just ran into this today for faxes for a client, where we have an eFax email set up, but they're not using it. They're using an email for an individual. I said, what, that individual's out or on vacation? Well, we don't get our faxes. Really? You're a title insurance company. Anyway, so we're making that change. You want to, and it's not just for registrar contacts, enable auto renew, and maintain updated payment methods to avoid silent failures. That is a great example. My SureWeb clients, GoDaddy, anybody and this happens, it happens a lot where their credit card, got compromised or something, and so the bank's sending them a new credit card. Well, you know what? They got to know to call their IT guy. They got to call me so I can help them. Let's update SureWeb. Let's update, or Microsoft, or let's update GoDaddy. There's probably a lot more. So you kind of have to have a list for your clients on where they use credit cards. So when their credit card changes, hit that checklist. Boop, 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 boop. and you can do it. You got to keep a central inventory of domains and expiration dates. And for mission critical names, renew several years out and monitor renewal notices from both the registrar and internal tooling. So you got to make sure there's a way for them to check, and you can do this online. They can check, when it's going to expire or not. But these are the little details that fall through the cracks. Also, this can go into the scams, misleading renewal notices. I get a lot, and I'm glad. A notification or an email saying, Mike, is this legit? The accounting office or the billing office, they get you want to buy, you got to renew your domains, and there's all these with fake extensions, with all the different countries, from but yet it says the company name dot and all these, and they need to buy them, and they got to do it now to protect their, it's a scare tactic, phishing scam on domain renewals. This happens a lot, and I'm glad that it's usually so much money, and the person reading it, when they got it on the regular snail mail, they're like, this doesn't sound right. Let me call Mike. and I say, just throw it away, ignore it. So that happens a lot. That's another reason I wanted to kind of loop all this together. That's it for tonight's show. I'm not sure about next week. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter to see what the show's going, or just go to the main website, MikeTechShow.com, because the first entry will be what I'm doing next week. So I'll always put, if I'm rescheduling the show or not doing it, I will put it up. If I don't do it Thursday, I have to see what time my son's leaving on Saturday, and I may schedule the show for Saturday or Sunday. And then a couple days after that, I have my wife coming down with my grandkids. I haven't seen my grandsons in a while since I've been down in Florida this year. So looking forward to that. And then I'm going back with them the end of June, and that's how I get back. But I'm going to be back here the end of August. So I'm only going to be up north for barely 2 months. And then I'm back here. But I will be back north for Christmas. So anyway, email me, MikeTechShow@gmail.com, for anything that you want me to talk about. Recommendations for show 1000. That's appreciated. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's Michael Smith MTS. That's it. Everybody have a great week, and I will see you next week, same time, same channel. Bye-bye.